Firstly, thank you, Nisha, for that introduction. And very happy to represent both US and Canada today. We are a boutique immigration law firm. We deal in immigration to US and Canada both. My managing partner did present about the Startup Visa Program, and I'd be more than happy to explain to you the details once again. But today, the topic of presentation is the new Eb5 Visa Program. So with that, can I just start the presentation by asking how many of you are aware about Eb5 Visa? Yes. Okay. And how many of you have heard that the program has recently changed? Okay, that's good to know. So the intention of today's presentation is to help you understand A, the requirements of the program, B, talk about the visa timelines, and C, introduce you to the changes of the program. So with that, let's go ahead and see the presentation. So that's about our law firm. I represent Donoso and Partners. This is an award-winning immigration law firm. We are based out of Washington, D.C. and we also have offices in New Delhi, Toronto, and India. Also, it's worthy to note that the managing partner of my law firm, Donoso, who's right now attending a lot of clients in the booth, is an award-winning immigration lawyer. He has about 25 years of experience in this industry, and we together have catered to thousands of clients both in US and Canadian immigration. That's about the program. So the Eb5 program is not new. It's been in existence since 1990. So it's a 30-year-old program. However, it has gained popularity in India only after 2017 or 18, which is when China hit a wait list. So these are a few technical terms, but I just want to let you know that this is a very old program. The program invites foreign investors such as yourselves to make a qualified investment in the American economy. And as a result of your investment, jobs are created. And this is the basis on which you get a lawful permanent resident status, which is basically a green card. Program is bifurcated into two categories, direct and regional center. And the distinguishing feature between both these programs is that if you're creating your own business, employing 10 people on payroll, that's direct. Whereas if you go through private companies licensed by USCIS, where they curate the investment for you and they make use of economical statistical methodologies to count jobs, then that's a regional center program. Eb5 program, as I was mentioning, has been recently revamped in March 2022. And it's brought together a lot of exciting changes which are in favor of the investors to promote transparency. So we'll go over them during the presentation. Now, what are the key requirements? Key requirements are firstly minimum investment. So if you are investing in certain areas which require employment, these are known as target employment areas. If you invest in areas that are falling under the rural category or infrastructure projects, then your investment threshold is lower. It's $800,000. This used to be $500,000. And if you're investing outside these areas, then it's $1.05 million. Secondly, lawful source of funds. This is very important because you're making a qualified investment, but your investment must be lawfully earned and legally traceable. It's not as simple as having funds in your bank account and then just wiring it. It's not wired funds. We trace both the origin as well as the source of funds and then map out the path of funds, which is delivery of funds from the investor to the respective project or the particular new commercial enterprise. Thereafter, job creation. Again, the basic edifice of this program is that you as a foreign investor are creating jobs in the American economy. And that is why your investment must result in creation of at least 10 jobs for American workers. This is very important. It's not a guaranteed investment program. Your investment must be at risk, which means that it doesn't mean actually that it has to be a risky investment. But it has to have the chance of earning a profit or even sustaining loss. And then finally, management. Even though you may invest under a regional center program, which is where you engage services of a regional center, which I explained is a third party who curate investment for you, you assume a central policy making role in that particular company. So you are a shareholder of a company, you're given a particular stake in that company, and you participate in the day-to-day interactions of that company. Then the visa process in nutshell. Let's say today you hear the presentation and you want to move forward with the program. Then what are the steps for you? The first step is for you, as you can see there, initial analysis. So you engage services of an immigration lawyer firm such as our Lawful, and we help you guide on how to prepare your source of funds. This is the most important step in the entire process because you will be opening up all the records to us. We'll be advising you whether or not your strategy is even viable. So together we've done about 6,000 to 7,000 EB5 cases worldwide. We would have done at least 1,500 cases for Indian nationals. So we know what are the requirements of the US government when it comes to lawful source of funds. So we help prepare that application once we are lawfully retained. Parallelly, you can also review projects with regional centers. And then secondly, at step 2, you make the investment by deposit of funds. So once we have reviewed your file, we give you a go-ahead saying, okay, now you wire the funds. You wire the funds, you select the project, you sign the subscription documents with them, and then third step, your I-526 petition is filed. Once your petition is filed, it takes the government some time to review the petition, which is roughly around 2 years. This timing is supposed to reduce as per the current act to nearly about 6 to 12 months. However, we are yet to see that be implemented. And then you have a conditional residency of 2 years once the government approves your application. So with this conditional residency, you get the access to United States. You can work there, you can study there. Your kids can take benefit of a domestic tuition fees. And that's the most important part of this entire proposition. Now, shortly before the expiry of your 2 years of conditional residency, you file a permanent green card application called I-829. And when you file this application, you basically ask the government to convert your status from conditional green card holder to permanent. Again, the government takes some time to review this. It can take about 2 years. But the government keeps renewing your conditional green card status, so you're never out of status in actual fact. And then lastly, once you're a permanent green card holder and you meet certain requirements, you can also apply for citizenship. Remember, this is a residency by investment option. Citizenship is a step after residency. Now the big picture. So we're talking about why you should invest in the Eb5 program and what has been the changes brought forth by the new legislation. One of the key changes of the new legislation is that it is supposed to reduce the processing timing. So if your processing time is roughly around 2 years, it's supposed to reduce to 6 to 12 months. And then there are new visa set-asides. So let me take some time to explain what is visa set-aside. As per the previous law, you had only 2 categories: target employment areas, lower investment threshold, and non-target employment areas, higher investment threshold. Now, after the implementation of the new act, you have subcategories in the lower investment threshold. So these subcategories are A, rural areas, 20% visa set aside, high unemployment areas, 10% visa set aside, and infrastructure projects, 2% visa set aside. So in effect, what's happening is, if any new investor invests today, 32% of the visa allocation is for you. So there is an advantage because you will be coming in the investment scheme today and you will be given a priority in terms of processing. It may be an unfair advantage, but it is an advantage to anybody who invests in the program as of this date. Then again, there are lots of features, but very important for the investor is, one of the concerns in this program was that there was lack of transparency. Certain projects did not do well due to the pandemic era, and people were concerned as to security of capital. So any investor wants only 2 aspects out of this investment scheme. One is that my green card should be given without any hassles. Second is that my funds should be safe and secure. So in order to maintain security of your capital, government has announced new features where the regional centers have to go through strict auditory compliance, and that will help in ensuring security of your capital. Again, these are new opportunities whereby you can take advantage of the new visa set-asides. There won't be a wait list. When I say wait list, what happens is that every country has a certain visa quota that is allocated to you. So if in a particular year, there are 7% of 10,000 allocations for India bonds, and if more than 700 people start securing a green card, then there will be a situation of wait list. So if you're applying under a visa set-aside, you have priority processing, and you will not be subject to a wait list. And then there are new regulations for business plan approval. So I'm not sure if you are familiar with a petition called I-956F. So there are few petitions which are filed under the new act. These petitions are important for regional centers to take business plan approval before they can even exhibit this particular proposition to you. So that is why the new act is very important. Here it's talking about the new Eb5 Visa Allocation system, which is 20% in rural areas, 10% in high unemployment areas, and 2% in infrastructure projects. And this is very important. For the first 2 years, there will be a rollover. So let's say that the first year began as soon as the Act was implemented on March 2022. Immigration calendar year comes to an end on 30th of September this year, and the new year begins on 1st of October this year. And then the second year of immigration calendar will come to an end next year on September 30. So September 30, 2023. That is the window that you have to take utmost advantage of these visa setter sites. And then we're talking about reserve visas. And okay, this slide is supposed to answer, is there going to be a faster processing? So the fact that there are regulations in the Act which mandate that USCIS officers must take into account hiring of additional employees, increasing salaries, and they have to adjudicate these petitions in a shorter span, motivates us to feel that these applications will be processed in a shorter span of time. And then there is a new feature whereby there is a special advantage for someone who's physically residing in the United States on a visa such as an F1 visa, H1B visa, or an L visa. For these people, you can apply for concurrent adjustment of status. So I will explain that in my next slide. Now, implications of the new procedure. Visa availability policy. USCIS wants to find out a mechanism whereby we give out approvals to those countries in order of priority where there is no visa wait list. So for example, if you're not born in China, if you're born in any other country such as Singapore, Hong Kong, India for that matter, then you're not subject to a visa wait list and you're expected to have a faster decision on your application. In addition to that, government has also released a policy wherein they say that, for example, if you're from a country that is subject to a visa wait list, then USCIS will delay a decision on your application. So what happens is, I said that this particular investment scheme takes into account investor, spouse, and any kids below the age of 21. So the date on which you file the application, the child of your age is locked. If the child is 19 years, then your child will stay 19 years even if the government takes 2 years to process your application. That is called the Child Status Protection Act feature. However, once a decision is made, the child naturally starts aging. So the government wants to say that if your country is subject to a visa backlog, we will hold off on giving an approval to you so that your child does not fall out of the particular family application. Okay, this is what I want to lay stress on, adjustment of status. What does it mean? When we looked at the visa timeline, we understood that when we receive an approval, we secure a conditional green card. The way to secure a conditional green card is upon receiving an approval, you go to the local consulate and you get your visa stamp, like you get any other visa stamp. There is an alternate to this procedure which is called adjustment of status. For someone who's physically in the US, you need not come to your home country. You can reside in the US and apply to take your green card. And that's called adjustment of status. Now, under the new Act, if you are physically in the US, then when you file your I-526 application for a conditional green card, you can parallelly file an adjustment of status application. So what does it mean? It means that government will start releasing the benefits, which is a work permit and a travel permit to you, much earlier than you receiving an approval. So if you apply for an adjustment of status today, you will within the next 4 months receive a work permit, another few months receive a travel permit, and you already will start taking the benefits of this application while you're having to wait for your approval. So this is called a concurrent filing of adjustment of status. This unfortunately is not applicable to somebody who's outside the US, and this is one of the star elements of this new Act. For adjustment of status, you have to remember that two key aspects have to be met. One is that the applicants must be lawfully present in the US, and secondly, their country must not be subject to a visa backlog. So right now, any country except China is not subject to a visa backlog. And again, we outline the benefits, which I have discussed earlier, that it will allow you to stay in US, it will allow you to start reaping the benefits of your particular investment while you're waiting for an approval. And if you get the work permit, then I guess that is the most important part of this entire proposition. This again talks about faster processing of temporary work permits. Government is also planning to give out premium processing on these work permits. It has not been implemented as of yet, but we filed for concurrent adjustment of status for many of our clients after the implementation of the new act. And within 4 to 5 months, we are receiving the temporary work permits. Now, these are our services in brief. So, what do we bring to the table? We handhold you throughout this process. We are your advisors in the entire immigration cycle, beginning from advising you whether your source of fund strategy is viable, whether you have the liquid, qualified, lawful source of funds, right up to the point that your family gets a permanent green card. So our services include advice to the client on project diligence. We do that as part of our retainership agreement. We will review the project for you on your behalf and ensure that it's in compliance with the immigration law requirement. We also work on your source of funds. We prepare your first application called I-526 and answer any request for evidence. So government at some point of time may also feel that there is requirement for you to explain your source of funds better or to find out any query on your application. So that's called request for evidence. And we help answer all of that. Then we apply for the consular process, adjustment of status and processing of I-829. So we are your advisors throughout this process. This is a way for you to get updated with the new news on our website. You can sign up for our newsletters. We've just recently published an article talking about how adjustment of status is impacted by the new waitlist, which has been announced on older applicants. So you can definitely log on to our website. You'll find interesting updates there. And those are the contact details of our law firm. Our managing partner, Donoso, and myself are based out of Delhi, so would be happy to entertain any queries and answer any questions. That's it. Thank you so much for this opportunity. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, or you can also meet me after this presentation.